Okay, here we are, day one. Thank you for being here. The first stretch. I really like this stretch. You're going to hear me say that about every single one, but they're all really, really good. My setup, ideally you'll have a mat to go through this, if not some kind of soft surface so it's not tricky on your knees. It's called the thread the needle and reach, and you're going to see that there's a nice bit of movement through my upper back here. The setup then, down on all fours. I like to sit back on my heels slightly. You'll see it'll make it easier for you to open up. I guess it is what it's called. Some of the stretches are going to have weird names, but this is what it's called, in that you're going to thread the needle so your hand reaches through. I like to try and drop my shoulder as close to the ground as I can, and then you'll come back and reach and look towards the ceiling. There's this lovely bit of movement through your upper back. Again, by sitting back on my heels, I feel like I can open up a little bit more, okay, and reach towards the ceiling. As I go through the next rep, I get my shoulder to the ground, little pause, and I'm just going to go through them fluidly here. So there is some kind of control. You don't have to go too quickly or too slowly. And I will go through however many reps I've told you to go through on one side, and then you'll swap to the other side. Thread the needle, my shoulder goes to the ground. This arm can bend to allow that. And then I'll come through and reach towards the ceiling. So really important you don't go through them too quickly, I guess, is the really big thing. And then obviously not too slowly. If you want to hang out here for a second and have a little pause, you can, and then reach overhead. If I turn around, do it from the other side, I'll just do 2 reps, and that you'll see that nice bit of movement through my back. So just watch my back, thread the needle, and reach. Stretch number 1. We move on to stretch number 2. If the last stretch was for your mid to upper back, this is definitely you're going to feel on your hips and the front of your thigh. I will give you an alternative if this doesn't work out. So that's really important. There is like a regression to it. Again, I would advise that you have a mat. You're going to need a bench. It's called the rocking couch stretch. So you could use a couch, you could use a bench, basically something to prop yourself onto. The setup here, it's really important each time that I put 2 hands on the ground. And basically what I'm trying to do is get my knee as close to the bottom of the bench as possible. My back knee is on the bench. I plant this leg beside my feet, and then I'm going to ease my way back up. And there's a really profound stretch here on the front of my hip and the front of my thigh. If it's too uncomfortable, if I move my knee a little bit further away from the base of the bench and set up, I can still feel it. It's a little bit less, and then you'll go through the rep or reps, okay? Rocking couch stretch, it is that rocking motion, and as I work through it, I'm going to feel a nice stretch here. I say nice, it might feel a little bit too profound for you. You might have to have your knee a little bit further away, and basically what will happen there is kind of the more you do it and the more you open up, the more you'll be able to get your knee closer to the bench. What I do observe from seeing so many people doing it is generally it starts out here, and then over time you work your way back in. So just be careful at the very start not to try and put your knee too close to the bench, and then even if you try and come up, you might find it very, very hard to even just get up into this position. Okay, but it is what you're looking to try and progress to. So you can see that nice rocking motion. Try not to lean back as you do it, not to arch your back. You'll go through whatever amount of reps, and then it's really important when you always go to swap or come out, get your 2 hands on the ground, nice and safely. And then again, knee goes into the bench, 2 hands up in front. Again, when you come up, you'll feel that profound stretch on the front of your thigh and your hips. And then you'll rock through. You're trying not to lean back and just work through it. Again, you come out, hands on the ground, and take your time. If you can't manage that, still a really nice stretch. The slight regression here is in this kneeling position. The knee that's on the ground, you're going to squeeze your bum as tight as you can. Don't lean back. And what you'll do is just slightly, again, just rock back and forward, that rocking hip stretch. Sometimes it can take a little bit of figuring out where you're trying to adjust your position, your foot position, to find where you can feel that stretch. Again, you would do X amount of reps, and then swap to the other side. Again, squeeze the bum and just rock through it. Stretch number 2. Stretch number 3, we've covered your mid to upper back and your hips. This time you're going to feel this on your shoulders, and it's actually quite deceptive. It'll look pretty easy, but when you go to do it, you'll understand how difficult it is. So again, I would have a mat. You're going to lie down, feet on the ground, try and flatten out your lower back if you can. So you're trying to press it down into the ground, that you don't have this big arch here where you can fit your hand under. The position, the start position, arms out by your side. You can see they're both at 90 degrees. And what you're trying to do, they're called slides. So supine slides, basically slides lying down. What I'll try and do is straighten my arms up overhead and reach overhead. That's one, and then return to the start position. So it doesn't look too bad, but if you try and keep your elbows, forearms, all of your arms in contact with the ground the whole way through, so you're trying to not let them float away from your body, you'll really start to feel how difficult they are. Okay, so straight up overhead, again, contact, back to that 90-degree position by your side, and you will work through X amount of reps, how many reps I've given you. So stretch number 3, the supine slides. Okay, we're almost done. 3 stretches, and then every day I'm going to give you a bonus movement, which is number 4. Not necessarily a stretch, but it's something that you'll be able to do, and I think has really high value. If you thought that the supine slides looked easy and they were a little bit tricky, add this to your list. So these are called walkouts. Again, I have my mat. If you don't have a mat, I would get one, because you're going to be doing a lot of mobility and stretching, and then you'll just always have it, and it just makes it easy for you to be able to do things, and it's not going to be uncomfortable. So the walkouts, they're trickier than they look. What you'll do is start at the end of the mat, and what I want you to do is bend your knees and get your hands flat on the ground as close as you can. It might be a little bit further out for you. You can see I can get my hands on the ground pretty close. My heels are off the ground. It's not a big deal. And then what I want you to do is walk out with your hands until you come to the top of a push-up position. You can pause slightly and then walk back in. Okay, when you get into that start position with your hands where you were, take them off the ground and stand up nice and tall. You can pause again. Next rep, again, hands on the ground. I would always look to take almost like, not as many steps as I can with my hands, but you definitely don't want to just take 2. So I guess somewhere between 6 and 8. So if we go through another rep, hands on the ground, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is fine. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then stand tall. Okay, you'll work through X amount of reps, whatever I've given you, and again, you'll feel like you do actually get out of breath with this as well. So like all the stretches, there is some element of control to them. Don't rush through them too quickly. Little pause all the way and stand back up. Movement number 4, our last movement of day 1, are your walkouts. If you have a piece of cardio equipment at home or even a skipping rope, adding 1 to 2 minutes of cardio, easy pace for every single round, is a brilliant way to add even more value to each of these days.